I don't know if you guys saw, but a new Assassin's Creed game has been revealed. Well, no, not revealed, leaked, because every Assassin's Creed game, for as long as I can remember, has been leaked. But either way, here it is, Assassin's Creed Mirage. And I am actually pleasantly surprised? Is that right? I somehow actually am a little bit surprised by this. I've kept it no secret on this channel that I have been insanely against the direction that Ubisoft has taken this franchise in the past couple years. Origins for me was kind of a fun deviation from the formula, with a great open world, a solid story, an incredible main character, but I really didn't need the series to morph into a full-on RPG after that. Odyssey and Valhalla are two games that I'm really not a fan of, kind of for different reasons for each of them, but generally it's because they are not Assassin's Creed games. They are historically based open world RPGs with extremely thin connections to integral parts of the series, like, I don't know, maybe having actual assassins in the game, the Creed, social stealth, engaging parkour. Whatever parkour system they've been using since they dumbed it down in Origins is like embarrassing. That was one of the biggest things bothering me about the newer games. And Assassin's Creed as a series should be based in science fiction, not mythological fantasy. I don't need to be running around fighting gods and these crazy monsters in my Assassin's Creed games. And that is what Odyssey and especially Valhalla really leaned into. I'm fine with Ubisoft deciding to say, hey, let's make an ancient Greek or an ancient Viking RPG. Go for it, that sounds cool. And a lot of those parts of those games are cool. But don't tell me that it's an Assassin's Creed game. They put the label on there for brand recognition and solely for that reason, and the way they've even tried to make those games into Assassin's Creed games has been just embarrassing. So my little rant aside, all of this to establish I'm pretty burnt out on these games at the moment, and this mythology trilogy that they've made is not the direction once again that I think the series should have gone in, which makes the reveal of this game, Assassin's Creed Mirage, actually quite interesting. Watching this trailer was something, because I couldn't tell you the last time I felt such blatant fan service that was targeting me in something. It was a really weird feeling. It managed to address plenty of problems that I have had the past couple years just in the trailer alone. Now of course a lot of these are just like, ooh, my monkey brain recognizes assassin insignia, assassin elements, and I get happy about it. I hear music I know. That's what monkey brain does. And a lot of these could just be surface level changes for the game's marketing. But there are some other details I want to dive into today that could hopefully signify some hope for this game. But let's get into it. Assassin's Creed Mirage follows a young Basim from Valhalla in Baghdad as a member of the Hidden Ones. And yeah, looking at the trailer, it looks like actual Assassin's Creed. There is a real assassin with a traditional hidden blade and white robes. We see social stealth, we see pickpocketing, we see a focus on parkour, we see a brotherhood working together, we see all these cool assassin gadgets. All of these things were awesome, and just as a fan of the series, seeing this trailer excited me. There aren't like a ton of game reveals I see anymore, like they have to be series I'm usually really invested in, or just things that really surprise me now when I see reveals like that. And it's been a while since I've seen a new game reveal that really got me excited, and this did that, and I was really excited about that. There are some beautiful, classic-looking Assassin's Creed shots, some being very clear references to Ezio, and they even threw Ezio's family in the end there, which, let me just add on, I watched their whole like Assassin's Creed showcase they did. Listen, I love Ezio's family as much as everyone else. It's a great piece of music, but they gotta stop like overplaying that every single time. I'm fine with it kind of being in some of the games, even though it doesn't make complete sense a lot of the times, but they were using it at every single transition point in that showcase, and it was driving me nuts. It's still a beautiful piece of music that I love hearing new renditions of. But after this, you gotta chill using Ezio's family, just a little bit, please. And that is generally the gist of what the trailer alone gives us, all setting the apparent tone and aesthetic of the game. And it's very clearly trying to win over people like me and much of the AC community that they've lost over the past few games. It does really remind me of something like, say, the first Halo Infinite trailer, which had one job and one job alone, and it was just to show off the visual art style of the game and show the audience that Halo is back to looking like Halo. And hopefully, you would also assume from that Halo is back to playing like Halo. We got that generally in Infinite, and I feel it's kind of hopefully going to be the same thing with this game. It's also just very cool for me personally having a very memorable and interesting AC cinematic trailer again, since I have always considered them a huge staple of the series. Me and my friends will just sit down sometimes and watch all the trailers because a lot of them are so like iconic, the music use in so many of them is cool, And having something that I feel was able to capture that in this trailer again was a very memorable experience. The cinematic trailers are always a huge deal to me, and the fact that Origins gave us a fine one, Valhalla gave us a fine one, Odyssey didn't even put in the bare minimum and give us one, I did enjoy this trailer much more than, I'd say at least since like Unity's, this is probably my favorite trailer. Syndicate happened, but I don't really want to think about that game. We do also have some info from the devs so far about gameplay details, like the fact that there are no dialogue options, no multiple playable characters, no giant branching skill tree of crazy abilities, and it's generally said that the game's scope will resemble that much more of the older titles, which is good because especially with Odyssey and Valhalla, that was one of the biggest issues with those games. They were stuffed with needless filler just to grind out your level in order to take on the next story quest. Odyssey just did it by having these pointless kind of side quests all over the world that you needed to grind in order to play the main story, but Valhalla made it questionably even worse, where it took all that meaningless side content and made it part of the different arcs in Valhalla that you had to play, and it made for one of the most disjointed narrative experiences I have had in a game, and it was crazy. So the fact that they're scaling it back, kind of focusing back to how those original games did it, is good. The devs also describe Basim as a character who emphasizes social stealth and speed. He quickly switches between all his fun little gadgets and uses skills like the pole vault to traverse through Baghdad. Speaking of, I also so far visually love the look of the city, and I'm just hoping that it is actually an interesting parkour playground with lots to offer. They also mentioned that black box assassination missions are coming back, and once again putting an emphasis on the narrative, which will supposedly, as they're saying, not really be focused on any kind of mythology, which thank God, because I did really enjoy Basim as a character in Valhalla for a lot of that game. He's got some great scenes. Darby wrote a lot of the stuff with him pretty well in that game. The campfire scene he has with Eivor is great, and in that story he also was really our only link to the Hidden Ones. So I found him to be a pretty enjoyable and interesting character throughout that game. And then he's revealed to be Loki, and the story fell apart. So I am excited to see a narrative focused on him without all that baggage. Really overall, this trailer was great. It was the most Assassin's Creed looking thing we've seen from this franchise in a very long time. And from everything I've heard and seen in this, I shouldn't have much to be worried about. But of course, this is Ubisoft, and especially in the past few years, they have not been too reliable. Even ignoring all their insane real-world allegations, workplace issues, harassing and hating women, whatever's going on there, their games, regardless of that, have been coming out mediocre at best. This looks like the Assassin's Creed game that plenty of us have been waiting for, so I'm just hoping it doesn't get dragged down by any insanely stupid decisions by higher-ups at the company. Let the devs make the game that they want to make. Let them make a very classically inspired narrative AC experience. No inflated leveling, no buying your way through the game. Ubisoft has a lot to prove here, but in terms of making an Assassin's Creed game, for those that have been disappointed by the series lately, this looks good. Ubisoft knows what they're doing, and to a certain extent, this entire game just has a weird kind of corporate feeling to it that I can't really nail down, of Ubisoft just trying to appeal to older fans. But also, at the end of the day, if we can get a great Assassin's Creed game again, I'll be overjoyed regardless of how Ubisoft is trying to appeal to certain fan bases. If we still get a great classic-ish, I'm not expecting it to go all the way, but somewhat classically inspired, certainly taking a step back from the last 3 games, if we can still get that, I will be overjoyed. I am still skeptical as of right now, because it's Ubisoft, because they're hard to trust, but this looks like it could be, once again, the AC game we have wanted for years. And for the fans of the newer games, they'll still be getting the Feudal Japan game made by the Odyssey team as part of AC Infinity, so they should be satisfied. Now, Assassin's Creed Infinity, or whatever they're doing with that hub experience thing, sounds like it has a lot more potential to be a huge disaster than, say, this game, because live service games don't really seem to be working out lately. I don't think that's what the Assassin's Creed brand needs. I don't think that's what Ubisoft should try and attempt, but that's a problem for the future. This is the future right now. This is going to be our next game. Not what the series is turning into, not what the series is going to be going forward, but just something they're doing right now to focus in and release this experience. And I ask, leave this game alone. Let the devs do what they want to do, and I am excited. Assassin's Creed looks like Assassin's Creed for the first time in years, and I'm really hoping this applies not only to the trailer, for marketing purposes, but in the game itself when it comes to narrative, gameplay, world design, mission structure, and much more. So what do you guys think of Assassin's Creed Mirage so far? Did the trailer look cool to you? Did it convince you that we might actually be getting a classically inspired AC experience? And just for kicks, let me know also what your favorite AC cinematic trailer is and kind of how this stacks up to the rest. Let me know what you guys think of Mirage so far, and I hopefully as we get more revealed we'll plan on doing more videos on it, and definitely when it comes out you can count on hearing my thoughts on the channel. Let me know all those things down in the comments below, and thank you all for watching Majestic Gaming.